Christine from Inspired Choices Network. I've got Donnielle Carter here, and we are ready to go. All right. I knew you would love that, Donnielle. I thought of you when I did that.
I love me some clapper boards.
Right? Everybody's got to have a clapper. So today we are talking about 22nd century consciousness. Oh my goodness. Oh no, she's got the giggles. We're in for it now. 22nd century consciousness, the future of consciousness as it relates to Donnielle Carter and Right Body for You. So before we get into this deeply, I'm going to read you Donnielle's official bio. So Donnielle Carter spent most of her life ignoring her body, living only in her mind. She was a successful radio producer and TV promotion manager and was finding no satisfaction in her job or the life that she created. She's often heard saying, "The world was not a better place at the end of the day because of what I have done." She went in search for more. I love how you're in the background doing this. Through her mother's health talk radio show, she was introduced to the tools of access consciousness and Right Body for You and found the more that she was looking for. And much to her delighted surprise, the more included discovering her body and the joy that it could once again be. Using simple to implement tools, her life and body changed dramatically and fast. Changing the energy behind those everyday thoughts and behaviors freed her of what had previously been keeping her from creating what she desired. Once extremely shy, which I still call bullshit on, Donnielle has now co-authored the international best-selling book, Right Body for You, hosted her own weekly radio show, and we're hoping she'll come back to play, and travels the world speaking and facilitating transformative classes, including the very popular and very potent, because she's involved, Right Body for You workshops.
Oh.
So if you'd like to get in touch with Donnielle, if you don't know about her, you need to go to Donnielle.com. That's DONNIELLE.com. Now, I'm going to tell you a few things you don't know about Donnielle.
Uh-oh. Because Christine knows things about me. How much do I have to pay you to not say some of these things?
Just pick up your phone and hit PayPal right now. And she does. This is such an impromptu radio or TV interview. It's hilarious.
I'm so serious.
Donnielle right now physically is in New Orleans. It's like her second home, but really I think it's her first home in some ways.
Yes.
And she's there creating, and we'll ask her what she's creating while she's there. Donnielle
mayhem. Oh.
Donnielle is one of the most sarcastic people that I've ever met, and I'm telling you, the day she walked up to me, which was, I'll tell you the date because I know the date.
Uh-oh.
It was August the 4th, 2004.
Oh, yes. I know the class in Canada.
Yeah. She walked up to me in a Right Body for You class and said, "I think I want to do radio with you." And I'm like, "I don't know who you are, but okay."
You didn't know who I was?
No, honey, I was quite a newbie.
Oh, completely broken, yeah,
but I still chose you. I still chose you.
Thank you.
Donnielle is also an extremely present person. She's very present with what's going on in the world, in her world and in other people's worlds around her. And multitasking. She literally is the composite duck. She's like calm on the surface and she's got so much going on underneath. It's like, seriously, you couldn't even keep up with the feet moving. They're moving so fast. You have always got so much going on, Donnielle. So
true story.
After that, Donnielle, when I invited you to this showcase and I told you the title of it, 22nd Century Consciousness, what was the first thought that popped into your mind?
The first thought that popped into my mind was, I'm always confused about what century I'm in. What century am I in?
Okay, cool.
Story.
I know. I want the true stories. That's awesome. So what is it about, like, tell me about what it is, about what is being present for you. Like, if you're always questioning what century you're in, what is that?
Honestly, for me, it's like never solidifying anything in my reality. And what I mean, that's pretty words for things.
Right.
But really, for me, it's something of once I solidify something, it means nothing in my life can change. And probably one of the best ways that I can explain this is not like, oh, nothing in my life can change, or nothing's solid. I'm a flighty, blah, blah, blah. Because as you said, I am present.
Right.
I'm very aware, but I am present in the world, and I'm not always sarcastic. I can't actually have a conversation. Maybe.
I haven't pulled this out yet to this.
Oh.
So I'm going to just leave it here.
Like the Gong Show? That would be cool.
Bullshit detected. Take precaution.
It is the Gong Show. That works so well. That makes me so happy. I don't know whether I want to be gonged or not. Okay. But so this being present and for me and not solidifying in my universe. Like I said, I can talk woo-woo, but really that's not what it is for me, because in the bio, which and what you said makes me sound really cool. I did a lot of searching with my mom. My mom was the ultimate. We're going to use that word this morning.
Yes.
We use the million instead of the 100 billion word. And so she was always seeking things, and she got into some really interesting metaphysical things. As a matter of fact, people in my classes are always like, oh my gosh, you have to write a story, or you have to write down a book of like all the places and weird shit you did with your, sorry, I don't know if you can swear, the weird stuff you could do that you did with your mom. Because, it's like those stories of like sitting on a crystal underneath a pyramid. Yeah. And so, and I've experienced the like woo metaphysical weird side. And that's a lot of fun. And for me, it was always not real enough, because I realized so many people were not actually believing their own thing. It was for them always a fantasy, a wish, and a hope that this would work. And so for me, being present in this is really just being able to actually create the life that I desire and know it's possible, and that I am in control of it. Not in that I am a control meister. I mean, I am, but I'm willing for things to change. And so when I don't solidify things, the best like real example I can give this is say like, I work with somebody and they are just the ultimate B word, right? It's like they are a witch in the not fun way.
Right.
And so if I have solidified into my universe that they are this,
right,
it could have been because of a bad day or because they actually are this, whatever it is, I can't actually allow them to ever change in my universe. They always have to be the bitch. I walk in, I'm like, oh, there's the bitch. And so I do them a disservice and I do me a disservice. Because, there have been a lot of people in my life that when I first met them, I'm like, whatever. And then, years later, they're one of my closest friends. And that's what I mean by nothing solid in my universe. No, I'm not talking about you. They're one of my, they're one of my, because it's not solid in my universe. I allow them the possibility of changing, and I allow me the possibility of changing. And that's just in one thing. Because, I mean, have all of us known somebody where our first impression was like, whatever. And if you stick with that, nothing can change. And so that's just, like I said, that's just an example that's, like a lot of people have had interactions. But then I do that with so much in my life of like, okay, well, that can change. Okay, that can change. Okay, that can change. And that's what I mean by not being solid. It's not that like, oh, nothing's solid. I just float on the clouds and wind and breeze. And it's like, no. And the other part of that is, I kind of breezed over it, but it's like, if I don't give myself a chance to change, but then I don't give them a chance to change. And, and we're talking about consciousness in this.
Right.
And so what's interesting is me thinking this person's a bitch is actually solidifying me as a bitch in their universe. And I'm doing one of the most cruel, mean things that I think we can do to another person is solidify what they are. That affords them less choice to choose and change and evolve and become more conscious and all this kind of stuff. So actually having no solid opinion about somebody else is the greatest gift you can give them, because then
And you.
yeah, but it's like, it's not just about us. Consciousness is just not about me.
Right.
Well, but
it is right now.
It is right now. But then it also gives them an opportunity because they don't have to fight me to change.
Right.
Because if anything's solid in my universe about them, they have to fight me to change. So it's like, that's really the gift of being present and then not being solid, is it allows everybody to change.
Right.
And everything.
So, Donnielle, how do you see the future of consciousness? What do you see? What do you envision is possible? And how can we, like, let's say there's people out there that, you know, this is the first time they've actually been introduced to these concepts that we're talking about, right? How can we invite them to whatever that is that you see?
Well, what's interesting is because, as you mentioned, I do a lot of traveling. And, you know, I think in marketing it's called the elevator pitch. You know, it's like,
yes,
when you meet somebody, have your 30-second pitch of like what you do and all that kind of stuff, right? And so one of my favorite questions to ask myself as I travel the world a lot and meet people, I mean, a lot. I'm in New Orleans 3 days ago. I was in Australia with a stop in Salt Lake City on the way.
Because that's what you do.
Because that's what you do. I have a strange life, but I love it. So I meet a lot of people, Uber drivers, people on the plane next to me, and, you know. And so I'm constantly asked, well, what do you do? And I'm like, how the hell do I explain this? And then I need a 30-second elevator pitch, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, what can they hear? What can they hear? What can they hear? And so one of my favorite explanations of what I do, of like the future I see of like consciousness and that kind of stuff, is this one Uber driver. He goes, so what do you do? I went, what do I do? And I went, I teach classes on how not to be a dick.
I think I've heard you say this one before.
And he's like, oh my gosh, that is so needed in the world. And so when you ask me about the future of consciousness, it is the future of not being judgy cows, whether it's of yourself or other people, and really just having the ability to create a future where, you know, I'm not talking about like Star Trek utopian ideal, you know, that would be great. I'm a big Trekkie, I admit it. You know, it's like we don't worry about money and whatever.
Yes,
but it's like, huh?
Yes, you are. That's what we love about you.
Yes. And but it is a future of choice. And, you know, and it's interesting because I keep coming back to this choice thing, because, you know, for a longest time I didn't think I had choice in things. I was raised a certain way. I did this and I thought that was my choice, but it wasn't actually anything I ever chose. So it's a future, like I said, it's a future of not being a judgy cow. It's a future of you create what you desire to create when you desire to create it. And life is a lot easier than we've ever known as possible. And again, not that necessarily, oh, you know what? Every day is a breeze. Every day is happy. Every day is like, yeah, that's all great. And that you actually have ease with everything that's going on. Because it was interesting. I had a conversation with somebody about travel the other day. I was coming back from Costa Rica. And she's like, oh, I always have ease when I travel because, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I pretty much have ease when I travel too. And then when we were boarding, I got called for special screening for, I don't know, I got pulled over for special screening in Australia because the guy liked my red hair. I'm like, thank you. I need to catch the shuttle, flirt on your own time, right? And So what was interesting is, so anyway, so I got in Costa Rica before I boarded the plane, I got called for special screening. And she's like, see, I thought you said you had ease all the time. And I'm like, I do have ease all the time. She's like, well, you got called for special screening. I'm like, oh, that's no big deal. Who cares? I'm like, so they talked to me for a couple minutes and wanded my feet, and that's cool.
Right.
No big deal. I'm like, oh, your definition of ease is nothing ever happens? I have ease with everything that happens. And for me, that's the future of consciousness, of just be like, yeah, you know, you can choose anything, including having ease with quote unquote bad or annoying things. Right. Is it bad or annoying, or is it just what we're defining it as? Because that didn't in any way ruin my day. I'm like, I don't care. Right. Took off my shoes, they wanted my feet. They said, can I open your purse, in Spanish? I'm assuming that's what they said.
So you opened your purse.
Then I opened my purse and they were happy.
Okay, so you got that one right. Check.
Yes.
Good.
And so I'm like, wow. So it was interesting that everybody else's definition of I'm seeing ease is like, nothing ever bad happens. And it's like, no, my definition of a future of ease is you're fine. I mean, don't be wrong, there's extreme situations where you're like, no, this is not happening and it requires change. But you could also have ease with things like that, because the more I have found, the more upset I get, the less I become aware of what to do to change it. And so having ease in that situation, I'm like, you actually don't narrow your focus. Right.
Or your options.
Well, when you narrow your focus, you don't see the other options, which is what that.
So what you're saying is that we stop judging ourselves, stop judging others, and solidifying things.
No judgy cow.
No judgy cow. Professional term today. And
I'm all about the professional terms.
And on top of that, it sounds like changing our perspective on our definition of what is difficult, what is hard, what is challenging, and what is possible to have ease with.
Yes, so you can actually see what can change.
Right.
Because, you know, I and so many people in my classes have done that. This is the only way to change something. Because, you know, and I'm a writer, and, you know, I like my words, and we're always told that you can only write what you've experienced. And I bought that for a long time. And the fun thing about that is, you know, it's like I do a class also about the energy of words. It's called The Energy of Words. And so I began in inviting people to look at words and phrases and stuff they use. And so it's like, okay, so, you know, I as a writer living by something that says you can only write about what you've experienced, well, then you can only solve problems from your experience. You can only define people by your experience. You can only go places by your experience. And it's like, how much have you actually limited your life by just living by what you've experienced? And so I've actually become a better problem solver, because I'm always willing to go, okay, well, last time we did it this way, now what are we going to do? And so it's again, and it's some of that not being solid either. So it is kind of fun, but you know, I invite people to start looking at the phrases. Oh, it seems like a throwaway phrase. Oh, you're right by what you experience. Well, what other aspects of your life is that actually dominating and contributing to your life in some way?
Right. Brilliant. So tell us what you're in New Orleans today. You've recently been in Australia. When are you getting your magic carpet? Because I think more than anybody in the world, you need one.
You do need one, right?
Right.
How fun would that be?
So, what are you creating in the world? What have you recently created, and what's coming up because you are always in the creation of consciousness.
I am always in the creation. Yes, I am. Well, I joked about mischief and mayhem, but I don't think that was a joke.
Not really.
Not really. Oh gosh, so much. Like you said, I'm doing this workshop, Right Body for You.
Yeah.
And we're gearing up for a big Right Body for You certified facilitator training. Because Right Body for You is a specialty class of Access Consciousness. And I've been the only one facilitating it, developing it for 9 years now. And one of my desires and dreams have been to have other facilitators. And so the founder of Access Consciousness and the co-creator, so Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here, and I are facilitating a facilitator training. First time in 10 years. I'm like, hallelujah. So I'm doing this huge nonstop tour to try to get, or to help people get the prereqs. Because you have to do 2 workshops. Right. And so I've been in, I go to London in like 3 days with another stopover in Salt Lake City. And then to Houston because it's the beginning of July. So it's a lot of fun. You know, I've done the Right Body View workshop for a long time. And I've never thought I would do body stuff. And like, I didn't even have any concept that bodies might have anything to do with consciousness or anything to do with like, I don't know, my life other than that thing that is just the weak spot in my life, or the thing that is, if only it could change, I could be happy, or that thing of like, embodiment, why do I have a body?
Right.
Or the fun thing, like I was raised in that we are here on earth, thank you religious upbringing, I am here on earth as a trial and tribulation, and that's why I have a body.
How long did you carry that one for?
Till about 8 years ago.
Wow. Is that when you got introduced to Access?
About 10 years ago.
So it was still 2 years that you were carrying it?
Well, yeah, because I was introduced to the concept, but it took me a couple of years actually to be able to not do the bullshit button.
Okay. Tell me something. And we've only got a few minutes left.
Okay.
But tell me, how do bodies contribute to the future of consciousness?
It's such an interesting question. For me, bodies have become one of the most magical contributors to creation for me possible. And I do mean that as a blanket statement, a contributor to the creation of my life, of my classes, of possibility of consciousness' very self. Because, you know, a lot of people were taught, like I was, that the body is a trial, that you know, like my dear sweet brother, he has very much bought the point of view from our, like I said, our religious upbringing, that body is a trial and tribulation. The more we suffer here, the greater the reward in heaven. Mm-hmm. I am exactly quoting what we learned.
Right.
And so his body is a trial for him. He has created a body that is in constant pain, constant suffering, and the more happy he is through the suffering, the greater his reward will be in heaven. And so a lot of people have bought that point of view about bodies, myself included, for a long time. And then, you know, my mom was a nutritionist. She did a health talk radio show for 27 years, which is how I'm 28 and been in radio for so long. Hey, the guy by the pool last night said I looked young. Thank you. And he wasn't hitting on me because his girlfriend was there. Anyway, story for another time. But, and so, you know, and that's why it really took me 2 years to be able to go, wait a minute, bodies aren't a weak spot. There could be a good thing about having bodies.
Right.
It was so ingrained. And then, you know, using the tools of Access, we work on Right Body for You, we work on the energetic level. Mm-hmm. And so I had a few layers of crap.
just you, nobody else, Donnielle, nobody else.
I know, right? Well, and I think that's one of the fun things I have about facilitating these Right Body for You classes is it's like, I talk with this.
Yeah.
I've been through the fire. I've been through the, oh my gosh, life would be so much better if I didn't have a body. Or, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the afterlife when I don't have a body. Because that, you know, that's what I was taught, right? And so many of us are taught.
Right.
And so, for me, the bodies, what they include in consciousness is the first thing I opened up to was that my body gave me information. You know, the first concept I heard is, what if your body has a consciousness of its own? And my first question was, what body? Yeah, because I was so like barely taking care of my body. I'd brush my hair, brush my teeth, I'd put on baggy, boring clothes. I wouldn't do makeup. I'd put my hair in a ponytail, and not in the fun, cute, like bouncy way ponytail of just like get it out of my face because I'm a girl, so I'm supposed to have long hair ponytail. And so I didn't acknowledge it. I didn't admire it. I didn't enjoy it in any way. And so when I was introduced to the concept of what if your body has a consciousness of its own, I first had to acknowledge I had a body, which a lot of people, I know people like, of course I know I have a body, I'm alive, but it doesn't go much further past that.
Right.
And so for me, that was really one of the first concepts of like, oh, I have a body, and it's for something other than the drudgery of my life. And so when I did that, and I began to have a conversation with my body, and what I mean by beginning to have a conversation with my body, it's not like you sit there and go, hi, body, how are you doing today? Good, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for waking up with me this morning. You're welcome. You know, that's not what I'm talking about. It's not like two sides. This is why I like TV. It's not like two sides of thing. It's not like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, you know. And, but it is just, it's acknowledging the consciousness, and what I mean by that is like, because this is a very interesting concept, right? Of like, what do you mean the body has a consciousness of its own? And it's like, well, do animals have a consciousness? Does the earth have a consciousness? And it's like, well, yeah. It's like, okay, cool. So your body made up of the same cells and molecules and minerals and oxygen and water as the planet. Wouldn't it also have a consciousness if every cell has consciousness and molecule has consciousness? Because consciousness is something different than what we've defined. So many people still define consciousness as, I'm awake, I am conscious.
Right.
And consciousness is so much more than just opening your eyes.
Right.
Whether metaphorically or not, right? And so what I mean by beginning the conversation is, you know, asking your body for things that pertains to it. Who eats, you or your body?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have yet to see an infinite being eat. I would pay to see an infinite being eat. I mean, really, what would that be like? I keep thinking of like in Ghostbusters, the Slimer, how it went, the ghost that did food in his mouth and just came straight out. That's what I think the infinite being eating looks like, right? So
the things that you think about.
And only like a third of it comes out. So it's like, who eats? You or your body.
Right.
Who wears the clothes? You or your body.
Right.
And so it's like starting with that. But it's so much more. Because, you know, as I've been developing the Right Body for You workshop, I talk to so many people, and they think like asking your body for the consciousness or for the contribution or the asking for information of everything that pertains to it
Mm-hmm.
is that it's only about eating, shagging, or what it wants to wear. But if you will ask your body, it'll give you information about other people. It'll give you information about the world. It'll give you information if you're lost. It'll help you find directions. It'll let you know if danger is near and all of this kind of stuff. So it is really interesting when you open up your body to receiving the information your body gives you.
Yeah.
It can change your life.
Well, you've been a major contribution in so many people's lives, and my life personally. Our journey began, as I said, in 2004, and we have become dear friends, and you've taught me so much. You've guided me so much to learn what it is to have a body, because like you, I was taught many of the same things from the religious perspective, and it's so wonderful to know that there's much, much more available than that. So,
and this is like the tip of the iceberg.
Yes. Exactly. So you've got to get in touch with Donnielle. You have got to see where she's creating in the world, what she is doing, and Donnielle.com. Now, before we go, I want to tell you.
2 L's. I have to tell you, somebody put it in the Skype thread really quickly. She said, the best of Donnielle, 2 N's for naughty and nice and 2 L's for lovely and laughy.
That's perfect. I think that's your new tagline. So Donnielle is sharing a fabulous promotional package with us that is just awesome. So the package is called What Else is Possible with Bodies.
Yes.
So she is offering, first of all, 30 days of nurturing video recordings with PDFs that are valued at $400. Like, oh my God, 30 days, like that alone.
This is amazing. This 30 days of nurturing you and your body is like, what if your life could change if you actually were kind to you and your body? And the concepts range from how to travel and money to just earth.
Less pain, preparing for the holidays. I mean, it's awesome. Okay, and then you've got Bodies, one full-size video recording PDF and processes, and that's $35 value.
It's called Bodies. One size does not fit all. It addresses the
it's not written that way, but
yeah, that's why I was like, but it addresses the place where it's like, well, only one acceptable woman body and one acceptable man body, and if you don't fit into that, you're wrong.
Okay, cool. And then we've got, sorry, moving along here. So, and what you're going to get, okay, what am I missing? And then we've got, you've been told that there's one acceptable female body. Is that part of that whole thing?
Yeah, that's part of the Bodies, one size does not fit all. And then it's the 10 questions to change. Yeah.
The 10 questions to change. 10 questions to change the body image in 2008 PDF, and that's valued at $1.99. So this entire package that will keep you busy for a minimum of 30 days is valued at $436.99, and Donnielle is offering it for only $97. Like, that's insane and absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much, Donnielle. That's
my pleasure. Well, I'd like to invite people to the possibility of bodies instead of the, oh my gosh, my body sucks. I'd be so much better without it.
Yeah, I hear you. That is fabulous. Thank you for your time. And you know what? I know you guys are in New Orleans right now, and you're getting prepared for, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, I'm preparing for Right Body for You Tools in Action, which is kind of an advanced Right Body for You class. Because one thing I hear about when people come to the workshop with me, they go, oh, I wish I could put you in my pocket and take you with me. So when I go out and use the tools, I can have clarity and, you can help me ask questions and figure out what the hell's going on. And so this class was created from that. So it's 5 days in New Orleans, and we use the tools. Instead of just sitting in a room and talking about them, we go out, we do tours, we use the tools in the magical city of New Orleans.
That's awesome.
And so I'm here preparing for that.
And that's happening when?
October 2nd through the 7th.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have fun preparing that. Thank you for taking out some time today to play with me.
Thank you for having me. It's always so much fun to play with you. That's why I'm so glad you included me in this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love you and we miss you on the network, and I'm going to start pulling on you like crazy because I want you back. Anyways, okay. Well,
how my manipulation works when Christine pulls on me. I like
it. All right, my darling. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And definitely go get that package. Bye, darling.
Bye. Thanks.